Good morning, first grade. We are going to finish up our air and weather today and tomorrow, and then we're going to move on to some worms. So I'm going to read you the last bit of this book. It's about seasons, and then you'll have an activity to do on Seesaw. It says, in many areas, the seasons bring different kinds of weather. Fall. Leaves change color and drop from the trees. Squirrels find food for the winter. A cool wind blows. We put on our sweatshirts to play in the leaves of autumn. And we have winter. Trees stand bare. Few animals stir. Snow starts to fall to the ground, and we bundle up to keep ourselves warm before we go sledding outdoors. That's only if we're lucky enough to get snow for sledding. Spring. Leaves grow on the trees. Flowers bloom. Birds are building their nests. The air warms up, and we go out to play in the warm, soft breezes of spring. Summer. The sun shines brightly on a hot summer day. There isn't a cloud in the sky. The trees give us shade, and we can make lemonade. Then we're off to the beach nearby. The seasons can make everything look different. Which season do you see in each picture? How can you tell? Hold it closer. So, what season do you see here? What do you see here? Here and here. Hopefully you said winter. Fall, or sometimes we call fall autumn. Spring is when the leaves are a little bit more bright green because they're just starting to come onto the tree. And then we have summer. Okay, so let's move on to some worm talk. I'm just going to go through this packet with you that I dropped off a couple weeks ago. So you have a fact sheet. You'll be reading that with a buddy, or you can read it to yourself. You're going to fill in a can, have, an R for worms. So worms are, what can they do? And what do they have? You are going to tell me, after you learn more about worms, if you wanted to attract worms to come to your garden, what would your garden need to look like? What would need to be there in order for the worms to want to have that as their home? And then you're going to do a describing worms. On this one, you're just going to put one adjective in each box to describe the worm. Make sure that you don't put nouns. Make sure that they are describing words, adjectives. And then you will finish the sentence. Worms are awesome because, why are they awesome? What is it that you think was pretty cool about them that you learned? Or there's something they have in common with ladybugs that I think was pretty awesome too. And then you are going to be trying to find a worm somewhere in your yard. Worms like damp soil. They like darkness. So think of places in your yard where you can dig or lift up rocks and look under them. Sometimes flower pots. If you tip it a little bit, you might find worms under there. Once you find your worm, take a picture of where you found it. Then you're going to draw your worm. You get to name your worm. I think you better leave it outside though. Tell me what your worm likes to do. Now, this is the part where it can be fiction if you would like, okay? So you can start to pretend what your worm likes to do. It doesn't have to be real, because then this story starts with once upon a time. And we know that stories that start with once upon a time are generally fiction. So you're going to write a fiction story about your worm. Once upon a time, there was a worm. Tell me about an adventure that your worm went on. Okay, I look forward to reading your stories and seeing your worm work.